All right, let's get right into it. BWX Technologies just posted a quarter that honestly should have been a home run for investors. I mean, they beat earnings, they raised their future guidance, and the stock dropped. So today, we're going to unpack this puzzle.
Yeah, it's one of those classic Wall Street head scratchers, right? The company puts up fantastic numbers, tells everyone the future looks even brighter, and yet the stock gets hammered. So why the cold shoulder from the market? Let's break it all down.
Okay, so before we dive into the why, let's just establish the facts on the ground. The good news here is undeniable. I mean, the results for the quarter were objectively just really, really strong.
First up, the bottom line. They delivered a huge beat. Adjusted earnings per share came in at $1.08, which just absolutely crushed the 91-cent consensus. Look, that's not just a beat, that's a blowout. And it wasn't just about earnings. Nope. Revenue also came in super hot, hitting over $885 million. That's a jump of almost 19% from the same time last year, and it was way above what analysts were looking for. We're talking real, powerful top-line growth here.
Now, this is a big one. Beyond the quarter's results, you have to look at their backlog. That's basically their book of future business. It grew a staggering 50% year over year to a record $7.3 billion. That gives them incredible visibility into where revenue is heading down the road.
So you see numbers like these, and you can probably guess how the conference call went. Management's narrative was, well, unsurprisingly, extremely confident, and frankly, they had a great story to tell. The CEO, Rex Gavettin, he just framed it perfectly. He said they're sitting right at the crossroads of two booming sectors, national security and the commercial nuclear renaissance. You know, that's a pretty powerful and frankly unique place to be. And you can see that confidence reflected right here in their guidance for the future. I mean, they didn't just meet expectations for 2026, they blew past them. Both their revenue and their EPS projections are sitting comfortably above what the street was modeling. That signals some real conviction from the people running the show. And they also backed up all this optimism with a whole string of actual, tangible wins. So this isn't just talk. They've locked in new naval propulsion deals, won key contracts for U.S. uranium enrichment, and they're expanding their footprint in commercial nuclear over in Europe and in the medical isotope space. The momentum is just, it's real across the board. Okay, so if the report was fantastic and the guidance was a solid raise, we're back to that central question. Why on earth did the stock fall? Let's get into the market psychology behind a move like this. The answer? Really? It starts right here with this chart. Look at this. The stock had already run up nearly 100% over the past year. It absolutely dwarfed the S&P 500's performance. So that's set an incredibly high bar for this earnings report. The good news? Well, it wasn't exactly a surprise. For many, it was already an expectation. In this slide really gets to the core paradox of it all. On one side, you've got a record-setting quarter and a guidance raise. On the other, the stock falls. This is a classic textbook symptom of a stock that was priced for absolute perfection. So the crucial point here is that this was a classic buy the rumor, sell the news event. The market had already priced in a fantastic quarter. And when you're trading at a premium valuation like that, just meeting those super high expectations, well, it's not enough. Investors were looking for something even bigger, an earth-shattering surprise to justify pushing those shares even higher. So with all that as the backdrop, what's our call on BWXT from here? You know, where does the stock go now? Well, in our view, the stock now needs a new, totally unexpected catalyst to break out of its current range. And this isn't about just meeting expectations anymore. It's about exceeding them in a new way. For BWXT, that could be something like a major contract for a small modular reactor, a huge component order for an AP1000 plant, or maybe a key regulatory win for their medical isotope business. So we see a pretty clear path forward for the stock, at least in the near term. First, the market just needs some time to digest this incredible run-up and that premium valuation. Then you'll see the focus shift away from this last report and on to the hunt for those new catalysts. And all the while, you can bet investors will be watching to make sure the company just keeps executing flawlessly. So our prediction is for some near-term choppiness. Yeah, the stock will likely trade sideways for a bit as the bull case, which is that strong long-term story, finds a new equilibrium with the bear case, which is its current pretty high valuation. And that brings us to our rating, market perform. Look, the fantastic long-term narrative around the nuclear renaissance is absolutely solid. BWXT is without a doubt a prime beneficiary. But we believe that powerful story is now pretty fairly reflected in the stock's price.
We're on the sidelines waiting for that next major catalyst to get more constructive.
And of course, as we always close, a friendly but very important reminder, this is not financial advice. This analysis is for informational purposes only. You should always do your own research before making any investment decisions.